Tools you're going to need for this process: 3/8 ratchet, a 10mm socket, 12 point, 12mm socket, a torque wrench, long needle nose pliers, circlip pliers, 12mm 12-point wrench, 10mm 12-point wrench, a 3-inch extension, assembly lube, some red Loctite, a medium flathead screwdriver, a small flathead screwdriver, a hammer, and a few rags. So the turbo in question is a TD05 Evo 3 16G turbo. Looks like it was pushing oil, so the seal's probably blown. This is a fairly new turbo. It's got a couple of thousand miles, but previous owner didn't install it correctly, so I'm gonna rebuild it. It looks pretty fresh, but yet it's still blown. So the first thing you want to do before taking it apart is you want to pull off your internal actuator. There's normally 2 screws holding it up, one here, one on this side. This one I already pulled off the bolts, so that's that. There's also a clip over here where the flapper meets the arm, the actuator arm. You just pull it off and your actuator comes off. Next step for this is to remove the V-band clamp that holds the turbine housing to the center section. This one I had also removed it. It should be a 10mm bolt. So pretty much just pull it off. This one is on actually backwards, but pull it off like so, and your V-band clamp will separate like that. That's your V-band clamp. Once you have the V-band clamp off, which meets the turbine housing to the center section, you're going to want to pull off the turbine housing off of the center section. This one was previously pulled off. It's usually not as easy as what I just did, it would just pull straight off. It's usually a matter of this will be welded on to the center section, so you want to pull off, grab the compressor cover and bang on the center section downwards to break it free from being frozen over time. So yeah, you pull it off like that. And put your turbine housing aside. This is where you want to use your needle nose pliers to pull off the internal clip that holds the compressor cover onto the center section. And you do that like so. Simple as that. Now that you have your internal clip off, you want to separate your compressor cover from the center section. You do that by just pulling straight up. Like so. Compressor cover. And now we have our bare center section. If you can look at the turbine wheel, you can definitely see it's wet from obviously leaking oil. The turbine wheel looks in pretty good condition, except for it being soaked with oil. You can see traces of it right there. Compressor wheel looks pretty fresh. Okay, the next step is you actually want to separate your turbine wheel and shaft, since they're all one, off of the compressor wheel and the shaft. Now some people say that you want to scribe the tip of the shaft in relation to the wheel itself. So mark it here in relation to where the wheel is positioned. This is for balancing purposes. Some people say that the assembly itself comes pre-balanced together. Some people say that the shaft and the wheel are balanced separately, therefore the relation of the wheel to the shaft does not matter. You can do it or you don't have to, but that's what some people say. My purpose is this Evo 316G will actually, I am rebuilding it, but it will also be, I will also be installing a 20G compressor wheel on the 16G body, a TD05 body, and my eBay kit where I got the 20G kit from comes with a 20G wheel, and it also comes with a 16G compressor cover that comes machined to accept the 20G wheel. So therefore you're pretty much creating a hybrid turbo, a TD05 20G turbo with the TD05 compressor cover. So because of that, I will not mark my turbo, the wheel to the shaft. The next thing you want to do before you pull off the wheel is you want to see where if the shaft is right hand thread or left hand thread. So some are different. The newer turbos are left hand thread. This one, as you can see, is left hand thread. That's so when the turbo is spooling, the nut won't accidentally come loose and your turbo won't fall apart. So in this situation you can see the incline of the left hand thread. I'm going to turn the nut clockwise to pull off the nut off of the compressor wheel. Okay, so for this I have my 12mm wrench for the turbine side, 12-point wrench, and my 10mm wrench for the compressor nut. And again, since this is a left hand thread nut, I'm going to be turning the nut clockwise to loosen it. There he goes. Put your nut aside, you don't want to lose that. And you can pull off your compressor wheel, as well as your turbine wheel. There he goes. And now you have just your center section. Once you have your turbine wheel and shaft out of the way, just wipe it off a little bit, make it easier because it is full of oil, and that's why we're rebuilding this turbo. So wipe it off, wipe your shaft. Just want to pull those out. This is your turbine wheel seal bearing, and if you look closely, that right there is your turbine wheel, your turbine side seal. That's the problem, I guess, and the cause of this turbo rebuild. Now what you want to do with the seal is just use some like a small screwdriver and slowly walk it off the groove it sits on. Okay, almost out. Okay, at this point you pull it off of the first groove and your seal is out. You can now pull off cover. Okay, so on the compressor side now, you want to pull off the internal clip as well. To pull off the internal clip, you want to use here's your pliers. Here's the internal clip. Once you have the clip out, you can pull off your oil shield off of the center housing. Here it is, the oil shield. Now before you can remove the thrust plate, you want to pull off the O-ring that's alongside the inner part right here. Once you have the O-ring removed, you can use your screwdriver and slowly lift up the thrust plate off of the center section. There it is. Once you have the thrust plate out, you can remove the thrust plate collar and the journal bearing as well. After that, you may as well remove the O-ring from the compressor side. And you can put that aside as well. Now at this point you pretty much have your bare bones center section. It's all disassembled. Now you want to start your cleaning process. You want to get all the carbon deposit from the turbine side. You want to clean the groove where the turbine side seal rides on for it to seal properly. Your compressor side is probably going to be a little cleaner since that's you know, not as much deposit builds up in it, but you still want to clean it up. The face, the internals, where the plate rides, just pretty much clean everything.